This is Draconian Combat episode 70. Today we got Beau Digby. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good.
Good to hear. I understand you had some surgery or something. How you doing recovering?
Oh man, I'm good. I had to get I had 2 wisdom teeth removed. So
Okay. Yeah,
yeah, I'm
that shit
good now.
hurts. I ain't gonna lie, I had that done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the aftermath, like the pain afterwards, hurts the most, to be honest.
Yeah, no doubt.
The healing process. But let's start it off with your background today. Where you train out of, your fighting style. I know you're a kickboxer, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about that a little bit to open up
Okay.
about you.
Yeah, so I train out of Hot Springs, Arkansas with Real Deal, mixed martial art. My head coach is Dewan Pickney. And yeah, I'm a kickboxer.
Do you
Hey,
grapple at all?
Go
I
ahead,
do.
Adrian.
I mean, I train grappling every now and then, but primarily I just kickbox.
Yeah. I'm the same way, bro. I just prefer striking, bro.
Me too. That's where I get down.
Yeah, me for sure too. I want to ask a question because I've seen recently that they opened up Real Deal MMA in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So if you can just kind of elaborate the difference between off the chain MMA and Real Deal, and are they connected? Are they brother? Are they sister gyms? Or what's going on with that?
So well, I used to train it off the chain for about 2 years, and that's where Dewan was usually, or that's where he was based out of. But
Okay,
he ended up opening up his own gym, doing his own thing with Adriana.
got
So
you.
now they're standalone, uh, and he's got his own spot.
Okay, I got you. I just wanted to clear that up because I wasn't sure if he opened two gyms now or the whole scenario.
Right.
As far as your fighting style, you're a kickboxer. Who do you look to, in the sport of combat to almost take things from their style and kind of apply it to yourself? Who are you watching right now, out there in the sport of like combat?
Man, my favorite kickboxer is Cedric Doumbé, and I
Cedric
think
Doumbé.
he's a welterweight champion for Glory. And dude, he's got a beautiful style. He will not stop hitting you the whole fight. That's definitely one of the guys that I look up to.
Okay. You see, I'm not so much familiar. Harrison actually is a way bigger fan when it comes to kickboxing, so I'm not really familiar with that name. I'm going to look it up after the show for sure.
That's a pretty good pull, bro. He
Yeah,
does have a
won't
pretty
be
good style.
disappointed.
Yeah, he has some entertaining fights. He's a good watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna look him up after this interview because I'm not so much familiar with it. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I wrote it down. I'm gonna look it up later on, and check out what you're talking about.
Sure.
As far as you kickboxing, what kind of got you started in the sport, man? Like, when did you decide you wanted to do it? What caught your interest? Anything like that?
Man, I've always been a fan since I was a kid. I did it here and there for 3 or 4 years, never really consistent. And I was in Taekwondo for about 2 years.
Okay.
Uh, but I don't know. Eventually, it just got to the point. I think I turned 18, and I was like, man, I got to do something with my life. I don't want to work for 50 years and then retire and sit there and say that I've never done anything. So I just pulled the trigger one day, came to the gym, and never left.
Gotcha. Adrian, you want to touch on that or anything? You got any questions?
Not right now, not about that, but I do have a couple of questions I want to ask, like
All
outside
right.
of fighting a little bit.
Okay. Let's talk about. We'll go on that subject right after this. Let's talk about your goals in kickboxing. What are you looking to? Like, what are you looking for to compete in the sport? Like longevity. What are you looking for in the sport?
Man, I'm shooting for the moon, to be
Okay.
honest. I definitely want to go pro, and I want to see how far I can go with this. I got world champion aspirations, so I wouldn't be surprised if I get there one day.
Gotcha. Adrian, you got some questions you want to ask?
I actually do. So the last time I watched you fight, Bo, I think you took a fight on a 1 day notice, 2 day notice. So I just want you to tell us like how that fight came up and like what made you jump on the opportunity? Especially, wasn't it up 2 weight classes or something like that?
Yeah, so I fight at I'm a 135er, and
Damn, you're a big 135er, bro. You're tall. You're a tall
You
135er.
are.
I'm tall. Yeah, that's all it is. But yeah, so I fought for the title in January of this year, and I ended up losing that fight. So you know how it is when you lose a big fight, you kind of beat yourself up about it. And well, coach he had called me. It was the fight week, for the February card, and he said, "Hey man, I got a match for you. Uh, do you want to fight?" And I was pretty hesitant at first because I was coming off of a loss. I hadn't really had a camp, but he told me like, "Man, you've been training. You train every day. This is nothing." So I was like, "Sure, I'll do it." And turns out the guy that I was fighting was, I think he fought at 155, and I walk around at like 148. So it is what it is.
Right. Actually, that's a good weight class you compete at 135. That's pretty good, dude. Like you're not really
You're
cutting
not
that
cutting
much
too much
weight.
either.
You said what, Adrian?
He's not cutting too much either. He's cutting like 13 pounds. That's just
Yeah.
like a good diet. Do you usually have to sweat like water out? Like, do you water load at all, or do you usually already close to weight by fight week?
Well, I usually water cut, so I'll cut the week of the fight. Usually start about Monday, and I'm pretty close by Thursday, uh, and never really have a problem making weight.
If you don't mind me asking, like on fight week, like the beginning of fight week, like that Sunday, I guess when your water load starts, what are you usually at, like coming into fight week?
Well, see, it depends actually, because during the winter time, that's usually when I'm about 148 to 150. Uh, I kind of hold more weight during the winter time, but when the summertime comes, because I work outside all day, I usually drop about 4 or 5 pounds. So the cut's even easier during the summer.
I low key kind of do feel that because when I was cutting weight for February, I didn't really sweat that much running outside. But when I was cutting weight in May, it was already getting warmer and hotter. I noticed, and I was working outside, I was a dispenser at Walmart. I was slowly losing weight day by day, and it made the weight cut so much easier. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
looked like the seasons of the weight cut definitely helps a lot.
I can't lie, man. The summer cuts they do suck because of the heat, but all in all, they're definitely a lot easier.
Yeah.
So for you, cutting weight's probably not that much of a challenge for your fight camp. What would you say is the hardest part for you during fight camp that you not so much struggle with? It's just a challenge mentally.
Man, the runs. I hate running,
Okay.
and the reason I say that is because
Not me too.
my team, the guys that I train with, they're all they're crazy athletes. These guys are running 6.5, 7 minute miles, and I'm running 8 minute miles. So it's just tough mentally trying to push yourself and trying to reach that level. Uh, yeah.
It makes you kind of inspires you a little bit down the middle of the run, a little bit, right?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah.
What would you say, Adrian? For me, I'm not gonna lie. The hardest part for me is probably diet and just probably intaking less calories than I'm burning. What would you say that it's a challenge for yourself, Adrian? Fight camp.
I would probably say, well, now that I'm fighting at 85, I would still probably say diet because even fighting at 85, I still have to watch what I eat and cut. So probably diet and just having the carbs for training twice a day. But yeah, that's why I try to meditate and stuff to balance all that out, to try to not hear all those negative voices in my head and just kind of be grateful for the opportunity to be in camp and to be able to do what I do. So
Gotcha. Hey, Bo. So
Yes,
I
sir.
know for myself, I'm a big boy. I like to eat after my weigh-ins and after fight night. What are your choices after weigh-ins to eat, and then after fight night? What are you eating?
Uh, Man, we've kind of got a tradition. After the fights, we usually all go to a pizza place here in town called Rocky's.
You know what? Your boy Bridges just told me about Rockies. I gotta try them out.
Yeah, yeah, bro.
It's
It's fire.
Rockies. Yeah, Rockies
I gotta
is.
try it because he told me the same thing.
Yeah, man. But after the weigh-ins, I try to be pretty health conscious because your gut can be pretty weak after the weigh-ins. So I
Right,
usually will eat a lot of fruit and try to stay away from cheesy things or things that are just heavy and try to make it as easy on myself as possible.
right. Yeah, I can't say I think I had Chinese food after my weigh-in, so I'm a little
Oh,
bit less more reckless. Bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
after the weigh-ins, I try to eat everything that I usually eat in camp, just higher portions, because like I
okay.
don't
Yeah,
want to put.
my bad, Adrian. What you
I just
said?
don't want to put anything in my body that like I don't already put in my body, because like you don't know how your body's gonna react. Like it might give me the shits or something. Like if I start eating pasta and I haven't been eating pasta all camp.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I think for me, like after weigh-ins, I kind of eat what I want, just because my body's lacking so much sugar and nutrition and stuff like that. But like the day of the fight, I do eat a bit more healthy. Like I'll eat
Yeah.
like eggs, fruit, a little bit of oatmeal. It's very light. And then after the fight, I pick out. I might eat a double cheeseburger with bacon.
Oh yeah, I go crazy after the fight now.
But I agree with you. Everybody's different. But for me, I know like the day of my fight when I wake up in the morning, yeah, I don't want to eat nothing, anything that's gonna mess my stomach up or make me feel sluggish during that fight. I don't want to eat it. So when I'm fighting the day of the fight, my diet's very strict, just like I was when I was cutting weight. So I agree with you in that sense.
Yes, sir.
Um, Bo, as far as your career at Real Deal, or do you have a championship belt, or
No,
did
I do
I?
not. No.
Okay. For some reason, I thought the last fight was for a championship belt. Um, do you see yourself fighting in Real Deal as far as the organization? Do you see yourself fighting in other organizations as well, trying to build your not just your record, but also yourself as a fighter? Where's your career going as far as with kickboxing? Or are you just gonna stay committed to Real Deal?
Man, I think other promotions will come. Uh, as far as right now, uh, I think I kind of have some unfinished business. I would like to have that title with Real Deal, um, just because I know it's attainable. We've got big plans, man. Once I go pro, I'm sure the bigger stage. Well, I don't want to say bigger stage because Real Deal they're taking off, but just like different experiences, different guys, different opponents. Yeah, that's definitely the plan. We're gonna try to branch out as much as possible when that time comes.
I got you. As far as training at Real Deal Martial Arts, you want to kind of explain to us and the viewers what it's like training there, the gym environment, having Dewan and Adriana, being there to support you guys and coach. You kind of want to vocalize that to the people that are listening,
Yeah,
what
for
that's
sure.
kind of like.
Yeah, man, my team is like a family. Uh, my coach, he really stresses that. Um, without your team, you're not going to get very far. You're really not. And I don't know how much you know about Dewan, but his style is rooted in old school boxing. So he's got that mentality, and it's a hard mentality, man. He's not gonna baby you. He's not gonna hold your hand. He's gonna push you and right until you break. And it makes champions, man. It really does.
No, I agree with that 100%. I think sometimes coaches that are hard on you kind of build, the best athletes. You kind of want to touch on that, Adrian. How's the environment in your gym? The coaches and stuff like that.
Well, right now we're kind of going through like a coaching change period. So
Okay.
right now it's Caleb Mincher and Cody who helps out a lot. And with Caleb, He's definitely has more of a older school type of vibe. It's definitely we all definitely feel like a family. Like I feel like if anything's going on, I can talk to them, but we push each other to be the best version, like not only as a fighter but as a human too. So we always hold each other accountable to be there, be when you're there, actually be there so you can get the best of the session. And yeah, it's a really good environment. Definitely intense during camp, but outside of camp, it's pretty chill. Still working hard though, but it's not as intense. But Caleb's a pretty intense guy.
Right.
Great coach.
Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's have some fun. As far as if you can put, we're gonna do Mount Rushmore. So if you can put 4 fighters on a Mount Rushmore, it could be anybody. It can be boxing, it could be wrestling, it could be karate. I don't care. Just 4 fighters that are in your top 4 right now that you just idolize or just they're heroes, you know, of the sport of combat.
Man, that's a tough one. I'll probably just stick to UFC. That way, it's kind of relative. My number 1 is obviously GSP. He's the top guy. Number 2, man, that's a tough one. Number 2, I really like Cheeto Vera.
Okay, that's a
I
fun
love
one.
his style. Number 3 would probably be Anderson Silva, and those can be interchangeable. And number 4, probably Israel Adesanya.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a kickboxer too.
And you know that might be a disagreeable list, but
I agree with Silva, Izzy, and GSP. Honestly, I would have John Jones in mind, but you added a fun one, so it's like I kind of respect that one.
Well, what's yours, Adrian? Let's I'll give you mine after yours. What's yours?
So mine is John Jones. 2, I'll probably do Izzy. I guess this isn't in order, but I got Izzy, I got John. I'm gonna say DJ. I'm gonna say Demetrius Johnson, just because I feel like his fights are more entertaining. But in my opinion, I don't think he has like a great resume because back then the flyweight division was a little weaker. And then for my fun one, I would probably say I'm gonna say Sugar Sean. I think he's gonna beat Marab, and if he beats Marab, that's a pretty big win because Marab's resume is crazy. So I'm gonna ask Sugar Sean for my fun one.
I respect.
Hey man, I'm gonna have to support my boy DJ real quick because I agree 100% with what you're saying. Because at the time, you know, the division at the time he was competing in the UFC, it wasn't as competitive as it is now. But he made that transition to 1 championship, and that competition is just as hard.
Yeah, that is what makes him pretty impressive because a lot of people can just only dominate. Like, there's people who dominate in like Bellator come to the UFC and they aren't that good. And vice versa. There's people who are decent in the UFC, didn't really do that well outside of the UFC. If you can be a champion, like the best in your weight class for every promotion that you fought in, that's pretty impressive.
And he was doing some crazy stuff at 1. I think he had 1 fight where the first round was kickboxing. Second round was, but like in the second round was just grappling, and the next round was all MMA or something. Like he was on another level and won. And it sucks that he never got. Maybe he'll get it one day, but he never got his flowers. I feel like from the UFC. But he's in my Mount Rushmore. Who else I got? I got John Jones, Anderson Silva, and then I'm a little bit older than you guys, so I got Fedor because, you know, growing up watching Fedor and Pride and stuff like that. So that's my top 4 as far as Mount Rushmore.
I can't hate on those lists. I like them. Those are good.
Yeah, man, growing up watching Fedor, because me and Harrison, you know, we grew up in a different age. So we got like a lot of the old school fighters, you know, like Matt Hughes, Rampage back in the day. Yeah, I mean, I remember watching Matt Serra versus GSP, and GSP, you know, beat him in the rematch. So me and Harrison been watching it for a minute. So a lot of our fighters are kind of like old school guys.
Did you get to watch the first Matt Serra and GSP fight, or just the second one?
I watched both, but the second one was the first one. I think like really, I got the poster back there. The second one was like the first one that really clicked with me, and I became like an actual fan of the sport. And then I started watching Ultimate Fighter and stuff like that, and I really started to dive into the sport.
I just saw that you have an RDC 6 poster. That is an OG ass poster.
Yeah, that's me on there with Christian Edwards. That was a good fight. That was
a good fight.
Yeah, that was a good fight. That was a tough dude, man. And we'll talk about it right now, anyways, because we're talking about it. Like, nah, that was a tough dude because I kept like hurting him, and he kept coming forward. Like he never stopped coming forward. And like before the fight, I think I spoke about this before. Like I really didn't want to talk to him. He was nice to me. He was polite. He came up to me, said, "Thank you for taking the fight." And in my head, like I don't like to socialize with fighters before a fight, so I really didn't fuck with him before the fight. I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't know this dude. Get out of my face. I gotta beat you up. But after the fight, I had so much respect for him. That was a good fight. He showed tremendous heart, and it's hard not to respect somebody like that because he could have gave up. To be honest, I'm gonna be honest. He could have gave up a few times, but himself, his corner, they pushed him through, and he kept pushing through and coming forward. So I have a lot of respect for Christian. That's the poster up there. Christian Edwards versus Michael RDC6. So I got that. I got that
That was
poster up there.
my first fight like ever seen live. That was my first time ever going to see fights.
Oh, that was the first one?
Yeah. That was that one in El Dorado? Or did you fight? Yeah, if that was in El Dorado, that was the same car that Cody got a spinning back kick. So I was a corner.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what's crazy is like a lot of you guys I'm starting to come across again. I didn't realize how many of you guys have seen me compete before.
Yeah, I think I might only watch you once, but I think I've seen you twice in person.
Yeah, and I think I've seen you in Hot Springs.
I think I had a fight though when you saw me in Hot Springs, maybe. And I think it might have been in September.
You might be right. It's just crazy because a lot of you guys are like familiar with my face, and then a lot of you guys I feel like I'm meeting for the first time, so it's kind of cool to hear. And then a lot of you guys had the fights on the same night that I fought, so
it's just
kind of cool to reminisce about and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's full circle.
Nah, for sure. We got Merab. You're talking about O'Malley. I already know in my head who's gonna win. What you think, Beau? Merab versus O'Malley. Who do you think winning that rematch?
Man, I love Sean O'Malley. I love his style. But
I do too.
I can't sleep on Merab. I really can't. He's got just like a relentless wrestling style, and that's hard to deal with. So I just hope Sean has been training for that.
I think he has, but I feel like it's like how much can you train in like what it's been like 6 months, 8 months maybe?
Yeah.
How much can you train in that short amount of time for
he just got off hip surgery too, not too long ago.
Yeah. I just feel like
he got in camp.
I just feel like he took the fight a little too early. Like if I was Sean, I would have somebody else fight Merab and then just use that time to get better and heal up and stuff like that. But they getting the money.
Well, Merab's been super active though, so it kind of benefits Sean a little bit because like Merab could still be pretty beat up. He fought in January, right? In a 5-rounder, and he took a little bit of damage. It didn't look like he did, but he definitely took some damage of it. And he seems like a guy that takes a lot of damage. So I think it being so short might have benefited Sean. Because when he beat Aljo took him a short notice like that.
So, Adrian, with the last fight, we saw Merab's high intensity, his pace and stuff like that. What do you see O'Malley doing different in this rematch? From the last fight. Like I see how Merab improves. How do you see that O'Malley improves? Just off of grappling, that's it.
I think Tim Welch is a really good coach. Apparently, Sean hasn't been able to wrestle during camps. Sean does have good takedown defense. I think Merab has had really good timing. I feel like Sean is probably going to be a better takedown grappler. I think he's going to be better in grappling for this fight. But I think their improvement is just the distance control. Because Merab only got close when he was going for a takedown. Besides that, Merab was kind of running in that fight, in my personal opinion. Merab was not on the front foot like he usually is. He was kind of circling, waiting until he got close for the takedown. I think O'Malley's probably going to feint a little bit more and probably throw more volume because he's going to have probably more like heart that he knows that he thinks he's going to be able to defend the takedown. So he's going to feel more comfortable being on the front foot. So I think he's going to have to add way more volume to make the takedown harder.
Yeah, I think he needs more volume, and he has to be able to close the distance, but also keep the distance. Like when he's striking, he can't get too comfortable, where he allows Merab to time a takedown perfectly. And next thing you know, he's fighting on his ass. And that's the thing, like you said, he hasn't been able to practice his grappling for that last fight. It's gonna be interesting when Marab gets him to the ground. Are we gonna see O'Malley get up, or are we gonna see him fighting to get up for a whole round? So it's gonna be an interesting fight. I think Marab is gonna get it. I love O'Malley. I love the image. I love the fun, the mystique behind him. But I just, in my opinion, I just feel like it's Marab's time right now. I think he's just
Yeah, he's been going on a crazy run.
yeah. Marab's on some crazy shit, and this comes out of a place where like I used to kind of hate on Marab. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't a big fan of him. But after like his last couple of fights, I kind of started putting respect on his name. Like he's
I'm the
just
same way. I didn't really like Marab either. I mean, I still don't really like watching him fight, but I definitely respect it.
I like his style a lot more than Blas. Um,
Yeah, but Bilal, at least he tried to box with JDM. I don't know why he tried it, but he tried.
because he got the Canelo hands, like he said, man. He got Canelo hands.
I think that's the CTE talking.
Hey, all right. So we're on the topic now of fighters fighting each other. Everybody is giving dude a hard time. Everybody's saying he's not the GOAT. Everybody's saying he's ducking stuff like this. Bo, who do you think is going to win, or if they even do fight, between Tom Aspinall and John Jones?
I gotta give it to Tom, just to be
Damn.
honest. I know you was gonna get mad. I know you wouldn't
No,
like
I'm
that.
not mad. I'm
I really think Tom can beat him, bro. I really do.
yeah, I believe you. No, I mean,
Just
I believe that too.
based on his performance with Stipe, granted he won, but what Stipe? How old is Stipe? Like 42 years old.
Yeah,
He's an old man. Yeah,
He's old.
and and Tom, he's in his prime, and I think that if they ever did fight, just because of how long he's had to wait, he's gonna come out on top. That's what I think.
That's a lot. That's what a lot of people are thinking. That's why I think John's getting so much hate right now. He's saying he's
Yeah.
running. What you thinking, Adrian?
I think John would win, to be honest. I've always thought that. And at the same time, I don't really blame him for taking the like. I don't know, because it's a 50-50 thing, because he doesn't really need the fight for his legacy. Because if you really look at it, Tom Aspinall does not have that impressive as a resume. Like, I don't think him beating Tom defines him as the GOAT. I don't think it would change anything, to be honest. I think it's just the fact that the fight should have happened and it didn't happen that people are hating. But I have John because I don't like if Tom Aspinall doesn't knock him out in the first round. Like I don't know if Tom can go 5 rounds.
Yeah. No,
And I think,
you said what?
and I just think John Jones can slow down the pressure. Like, I mean, no heavyweight has fought heavyweights like Tom Aspinall, but no heavyweights fights guys like John Jones. John Jones knows distance. He can hit you from every range with a different strike. No one at the heavyweight level mixes it up like that. I have an unpopular opinion that Cyril Gahn would be a really tough fight for Tom Aspinall. I would actually love to see that fight. Because I think
And
Cyril
Jones
Gahn
submitted him, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think Cyril Gahn can beat Tom Aspinall. Or Tom Aspinall would definitely shoot. I could see Tom Aspinall shooting on that one.
On game?
Yeah. I don't think he would want to stand and bang with Gang. Because Gang can kind of mix it up too. He doesn't mix it up as well as John Jones. But I think that style would actually give Tom Aspinall a problem.
Yeah. They do have kind of because they're both strikers, but they're kind of opposite strikers. Gang's more moving around, stick and move, technical. Tom's just as technical too, but I think his strike is more like boxing heavy.
Yeah, it is more boxing. I just feel like that's not a game that you really kind of can play with John Jones because you're going to be at a kicking range.
Yeah, and that I agree with. I think Tom Aspinall can knock Jones out. I think it's highly possible. Like I wouldn't bet on the fight, but I do think that if they did fight, John Jones isn't going to get into a war with Tom Aspinall. It's going to be a war incorporated into his own game plan. It may be a boring fight to people because it's technical. He takes him down, strikes, he gets back up, bam, gets some knees in, elbows, holds him against the cage, gets strikes, take him back down. Tom gets back up. It's going to be one of those type of fights, I feel like. I don't think it's going to be a rock 'em sock 'em. I think Jones is too smart for that. And if it is a rock 'em sock 'em, I think Jones will get knocked out. I don't know. I'm a Jones fan. I think Jones could pull it off, but I'm also realistic where Tom Aspinall can knock him out. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's very possible.
Yeah. I think it's a possibility that he can get knocked out, but even Blades is kind of boxing with him for a little bit. So it's like those guys are choosing to stand and bang with Tom Aspinall. I don't think John Jones will choose that. So
Right. What are your opinion on and I don't want to keep you for too long, so I got about two more questions.
Okay.
What are your opinion on DDP versus Hamzat? That's an interesting fight. I think one of them, their wrestling credentials and their technique looks a little bit more in sync than the other fighter, but for some reason the other fighter is very just has a lot of power, has a lot of drive, endurance, and has a lot of pressure that just works for him in his style. So who do you see winning versus DDP and Hamzat in that fight?
In my opinion, I don't see why DDP couldn't win. I think that he is the champion because of his mentality and his mindset. I think that he beat Sean because he was mentally stronger uh, due to his lack of technique. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's really what it comes down to, and not to say that Kamzat isn't a mentally tough person, but he has he has gone like he's. I think that the fight with him and Gilbert Burns was probably one of his toughest fights, and I think that it was a mental war. So yeah, definitely, I think that that's what it comes down to is the mindset.
No, I agree with that. For me, one of his hardest fights, I think, was Usman.
Yeah,
And with that fight, like he dominated Usman a lot in that first round. About halfway through the second round, he kind of did tire out. The pace stopped a little bit, and Usman started to apply his pressure. And in that third round, I mean, Usman looked like he was winning that round. So in a 5 round fight, it makes you wonder if Usman would have pulled off that victory against Hamzat. But
yeah, and
it was a 3 round fight. It didn't happen. So now we're gonna get a 5 round fight against DDP, someone
right.
that's bigger than Usman, someone that hits harder than Usman, and someone that applies the pressure probably a little bit more than Usman because I think DDP is naturally a bigger 185er. But yeah, in my opinion, I think it's gonna be in the first 2 rounds. It's gonna be off rockers. Like they're gonna try to kill each other. But I think the pace will slow down. I think DDP will either get the victory in a unanimous decision or maybe possibly a TKO finish. We really haven't seen Hamzat in the deep waters yet, bro. So there's no
Yeah,
telling.
honestly, he's been known to gas out.
Yeah, we've never seen him in the deep waters, and that's going to be the first fight where he's going to be in the deep waters with somebody who
Yeah,
don't play around. What are your thoughts on that, Adrian?
I got DDP just because
You
of
got
that. I think it's going to be a long, tough fight, and I just don't know if Hamzat's going to have the not just the cardio for it, honestly.
got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking he wins, bro. I'm thinking he wins. Since we're on
I
the
just
topic, one more question before we close out. I could talk forever. What are your thoughts against with not Islam? Actually, I think Islam is moving up. But what are your thoughts with Taporia versus Charles? How do you see that fight going?
oh man,
That's
that's
gonna be
like
fun.
that's one of those things where it's like my brain tells me one thing, but my heart hopes for another. I love Charles Oliveira, man, but it's
You think
very
Taporia's gonna get him?
it's possible, and I'm not gonna say that he won't. You know, Taporia, he's sharp, he's got power, and he's got great technique.
Yeah, Taporia is a dog. I think it's gonna be interesting seeing him. I think he naturally is a bigger fighter that was cutting down to 145. It's gonna be interesting seeing him compete at 155 with dudes that are naturally on his level as far as like just build and everything like that. Like I'd like to see him fight Gaethje. I want to see where that goes down or Dan Hooker. There's a lot of great matches. Patty Pimlet, that would be crazy. So there's a lot of great matches for Taporia in that division. It's going to be interesting though. It's going to be interesting, I think. And I think it might, if he wins, it's going to change the division for a minute. Like they're going to have a big star in the UFC. I think so.
I think Taporia versus Patty would be more interesting to me than
Yeah.
Taporia Islam, just because there's some beef in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they were beefing like, before he was even champion, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like they were
Yeah.
beefing. Taporia was like on the prelims.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been brewing for a minute. So that fight in itself, and just both their characters. You have someone like Taporia, Then you have someone like Patty, and they're both characters. I think that would be a huge fight. I think the fans would love it.
And
Yeah.
realistically, if the UFC wants Patty to become a champion, because that is like kind of like their biggest star almost,
Hmm.
Taporia will probably be the fight. I don't think he beats Taporia, but that's probably a more winnable fight than Islam. Like Patty will not beat Islam, but there's a baby chance that he can beat Taporia. But I think Taporia sparks both of them.
I think him versus Patty's gonna be interesting, bro. Because if it does happen, because Patty's big for that division too.
He's huge.
Like his back is huge. No
He's
Diddy.
tall
Like
too.
yeah, he like at that division, bro. Like he is built. Like you could tell. Like he obviously walks around really heavy, but when he makes weight at 155 on fight night, you can see an obvious difference. Like when he fought Bobby
Michael,
Green, like there was an obvious difference in size between both of them.
he
So
was
he
way
packs a
bigger
lot
than
of
Michael
power.
Chandler too.
Say again.
He looked way bigger than Chandler too. Like he made
Yeah,
Chandler look a little small.
he did. And Chandler usually looks kind of big, like kind of like a short, buff. But Chandler looks pretty big in there. So for him to make Chandler look small, Patty's a big dude at that division. Him versus Taporia, that'd be big money. Fun for everybody to watch. Um, but as we close it out, Adrian, did you have any more questions you want to ask Bo?
So I got two questions. So Bo, from when I met you, bro, and the interactions we have, you seem like a really laid back, pretty cool dude. So what are your hobbies outside of training and fighting? And then what kind of music do you like, bro?
All right. Hobby. Mm,
Oh, damn, I think he cut out.
Maybe the phone died.
Damn. We'll wait.
A little bit of technical difficulties. It's okay.
It's all right. This shit happens all the time. Hey,
Yeah.
this is what happens when you run a live show. Shit happens.
It's better for it to be live, though. It's way more authentic. A lot of
Right.
people get stuff out. Can't cut nothing out if it's live.
Okay. I'm going to add this one to the stage. Add the stage. All right. Now we got two Beau Digbys. Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, brother.
All right, that's my bad. I got a damn phone call.
No, you're good, brother.
Yeah, man. So, hobbies. Man, I like fishing. I like hiking. I like to be outdoors. Uh, I don't really have many other hobbies other than training, though. Just to be honest, this is kind of just my life. And man, as far as music goes, I don't know. I like a lot of things. I like rock music, rap music, uh, everything really.
And then one more question, bro, because you in May the 10th, you stepped out in the Jordans, bro. So what's your favorite sneaker?
Oh, my favorite sneaker? It's a pair that I don't even own, bro. I love Jordan 3s.
Some threes, yeah. The threes are nice. I have one pair of threes. I have some red ones. I think they're the red cements.
Heck yeah, those are nice.
All right, man. Bo, we appreciate you coming on. We look forward to your next fight. If to close it out, you want to let us know any shout outs, people you want to shout out, your socials so people can follow you, and also if there's an update on a possible next fight and when we can expect that.
Yeah, man, I'm actually fighting June 7th. So
Hell yeah.
Oh shit.
yeah,
Okay.
so I've got
Hell is
another 135 fight against a guy named Alex Moran.
okay.
Has he fought for RDC before? Oh,
He
did he just fight in May?
He fought Tyler.
He fought one of my teammates. That was a pretty good fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, damn. No disrespect to the Alex kid because he was a pretty cool guy. I think your style though and your length, the way Tyler fought him, I think that's a good game plan, bro. Obviously, your all styles are a bit different, but you can probably tell like the straight up the middle shots just using your height. I think that's a very winnable fight, bro. That's a good matchup for you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
And then my bad, what were you saying?
I was just gonna tell you my Instagram. My Instagram is Silencer KB, like for kickboxing.
Mhm.
That's where you can find me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a good fight, bro. They need to post that. Have they posted that yet?
Yeah, isn't that
No,
like next week?
yet.
Damn, I
No,
didn't know you was
yeah,
fighting.
this is fight week for them. Oh, tomorrow's fight week. They would start the
Yeah,
water
that's
load.
why I got this black eye. We did our round robins last night, so
Okay.
Damn, that's a good ass fight, bro. Damn.
Damn, I'm glad we got you on. I didn't know you had a fight so soon, man. So
yeah,
we're looking at RDC 20.
Stack
Is it
card.
Little Rock?
yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Little Rock, Arkansas, versus Alex Moran.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, man. Thank you for coming on the platform. We appreciate you very much, and we look forward to bringing you back on. You know, when we bring fighters on, we don't want to do a one-time thing, like we're using you or nothing like that. We appreciate you guys. So you can even hit me up. You know, I'm cool with the fighters. You guys can hit me up anytime to come on the show. It doesn't matter. So we want to follow up with you after your fight, though. So after your fight, we'd love to bring you back on, man.
For sure, man. Yeah, I'd like that.
Now this was a good episode, and I'm gonna close it out. This is Draconian Combat, episode 71 with Beau Digby. Watch out, he's fighting June 7th, RDC 20 in Little Rock, Arkansas. Peace
Yes,
out.
sir.
Peace out, brother. Have a good one.
Much love, y'all. Later.